Hello there. Good day and thanks for joining me once again on Delight channel. T-Mac is my name and you are heartily welcome to this week's episode. If you've been here from the beginning of this channel, you will notice that what we've tried to do over the last 12, 14 months is to take you through a journey of an individual, a young man, a young woman who is just leaving school, and we've traced his or her journey all through the different stages to when he or she becomes a leader in the workplace. That is what we rested last episode. Now, this episode, I'm of the opinion that we should try and focus on something that is common all through the life cycle of the individual in the workplace, and that is business communication. Now, you will know that whether you are starting, you are middle, you are senior, you have to communicate to different publics at different times, on different occasions, and it is not something you can afford to do carelessly. In fact, it has been proven that your communication ability has a lot to do with your career journey. And therefore, this is something you want to try and pay attention to, irrespective of where you are in your journey. Now, what is communication? Communication is the exchange of information using words, symbols, signs, images, gestures, whatever you use in exchanging information. Unfortunately, it is not as simple as it sounds, because communication is so central to human life, is so central to human relationship, and if you check out the wars that the world has fought and the wars that the world is fighting right now, at the center of it is communication or miscommunication. So, if I want to break this down into simple elements, communication involves like two broad parties. You have the sender, you have the receiver. And then there is a medium through which they are communicating. So the medium may be the paper on which you are writing, the medium can be the phone through which you are watching me, or the tablet or the PC. The medium can even be the cable or whichever medium you are using to communicate. And over that medium, the sender will encode his message, send it to the receiver, and the receiver is then expected to decode that message, make sense of it, and then send back a feedback message to the sender. Now, until the sender receives that feedback message and decodes it and confirms that what was sent is what was received, communication is not complete. What are the things that could possibly make it impossible for what was sent to be what was received? Sometimes there is noise over the channel. Sometimes the context in which the conversation happens or the communication is happening can cause a distortion, loss of packets, loss of message, and what was sent is not what was received. But once you take care of the noise, take care of the context, and you are deliberate to ensure that you get feedback message, then you are in a better position to know whether what you sent is what was received. Now, when we talk about business communication, as the title suggests, it is the exchange of information in a business or formal environment. And it is something, like I said, you have to do all through your career. So, when we speak about business communication, who exactly are you exchanging information with? Typically speaking, there are like 4 different categories of publics that you need to be aware of when it comes to business communication. Number 1 is the internal. Number 2 is the business to business, so formal communication between one business to another business. Number 3 is the communication between a business and the customer. And number 4 is the communication between the business and the potential customer. Now, as you will notice, even in all these classes that I've highlighted, there can be divisions and subdivisions amongst them. What you find as an example in internal communication is that there can be two broad classification. There is a communication you do to your superiors, and then one you do to the others, which will be your peers and those who are junior to you. And there are considerations you put in mind when having communication with the different publics that you have to deal with. Same for the potential customer. It can be different kind of public communication. Sometimes it's an advertorial, sometimes it's a rejoinder, sometimes it's a public service announcement. The different contexts and the different publics have a very funny mix that you need to bear in mind when you are communicating. Now, in communicating with these different publics that we have identified, what are the types of communication that exist and what are the rules that surround them? Let me quickly list them. Number one is you have the verbal communication, which is what we're using right now. And then you have the non-verbal. When I'm going to talk about them, I'll put the two together because they usually go together. So the verbal and the non-verbal, that makes it 1 and 2. And then number 3, you have the written. And then number 4, you have the visual. So there are these different classes and types of communication, and they all have different rules and nuances that you need to be aware of if you will be an effective communicator in the workplace. I am trying to make this as short and tight as possible so that I do not go as long-winded as I've been over the last couple of videos. So next week, we are going to go into what is common to all these types of communication, and if time permits, we then go to what is different from each of the communication, and then hopefully we can rest this series. So I hope you find this very useful because it is something that we believe will make a difference in your journey and will help you very soon to start living your dream. Have you subscribed yet for this channel? Please do that. And remember the Telegram channel, a lot of extra content is being shared there on a weekly basis. Join and let's come together, share opinions, share perspective so that the content is richer and then it's more settled for you. Thanks for being here every time. T-Max is still my name, and as usual, all I'm trying to do is what? Make a little difference. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.